Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good day. I hope you're having or have had a beautiful and blessed day. Deuteronomy 25 and 26 today. I'm hoping eventually someday this all goes away, but I suspect, and I get louder again, but I suspect that until my sore is healed up and I can sit up all day again, it's not going to happen. And judging by the way the sore looks right now, I probably still got about 2 weeks. Boy, I hate admitting that. I've still got probably about 2 weeks of dealing with the sore before I can move on. So, doing my best. Pray today. Don't forget to, if it's about leadership, if it's about people living under Sharia law or persecution or being enslaved, if it's about forgiveness, pray today and pray about all these things. I know it's nobody's favorite word, but as I always tell you, then shut up and listen. Yeah. If you're not quiet listening, then you're not gonna get anything from God. You're just giving him like to him. Don't talk at him, have a conversation. Yeah. Alright, we're gonna read 25, 26. I say it all the time, but if you have something, anything you want to talk about, God, Bible, forgiveness, any of it, as long as it's not theology. We're not on here to discuss that theology versus that theology versus this book. That's what we discuss here. That is all we discuss here. Alright, here we go. When there is a dispute and the parties draw near for judgment and the decision is given, declaring one party in the right and the other in the wrong. If the one in the wrong deserves whipping, the judge shall have him lie down, and in the presence of the judge receive the number of lashes the crime wants. 40 lashes may be given, but no more. Or else, if more lashes are added to these many blows, your brother will be degraded in your sight. 40 days and 40 nights, 40 years in the desert. 40 lashes. If you want to go do the science behind it, look up what lashes really were at the time first, because that matters. And then look up how many a man could take before he is almost certain to die because of the infection on his back or the, right? And then look at what God's doing here. It's one of those things where it just makes sense. Like no matter what the crime, I mean, if it's deserving death, put him to death. But if it's deserving some lashes, then give them some lashes, let them go home. If you give them over 40 lashes, they're going to die. You might as well put them to death, right? You shall not muzzle an ox when it treads out grain. That's just, if something's working for you, whether it's an ox or a human being or whatever, you don't keep it from eating while it's working for you. That's my grain. Without the ox, you don't have any grain. Or it takes you a whole lot longer. Right? Let the ox eat. Let the man eat. Let the slave eat. It's not just about food. When brothers live together and one of them dies without a son, the widow of the deceased shall not marry anyone outside the family but her husband's brother, shall come to her, marrying her and performing the duty of a brother-in-law. The firstborn son she bears shall continue the name of the deceased brother, that his name may not be blotted out from Israel. But if a man does not want to marry his brother's wife, she shall go up to the elders at the gate and say, my brother-in-law refuses to perpetuate his brother's name in Israel and does not intend to perform his duty toward me. Thereupon the elders of the city shall summon him and speak to him. If he persist in saying, I do not want to marry her, His sister-in-law in the presence of the elders shall go up to him and strip him. She can strip his sandal from his foot and spit in his face, declaring, "This is how one should be treated who will not build up his brother's family. And his name shall be called in Israel, the house of the man stripped of his sandal." Now that sounds, I know how cheesy that sounds to us. Oh, I go, there's the man whose house has been stripped of the sandal. But if you lived in this time, and you heard that about a man, it was a mighty blight on that man. He wouldn't step up and do the family duty of helping his brother's wife perpetuate children. He wouldn't step up and do the brotherly duty. He wouldn't step up and do the manly duty. This says a lot about who he is according to the other people, right? So it's a huge blight. And make no mistake, anyone who hears it goes, "Ooh, that guy, that's, like, shame," right? When two men are fighting and the wife of one intervenes to save her husband from blows of his opponent, if she stretches out her hand and seizes the latter by his genitals, you shall chop off her hand, show no pity. I know, it's a weird thing. Why is a woman getting in the middle? Israelite women were pretty fiery, still are. And, the husband getting beat down maybe, and she jumps there to stop it, grabs other than by his junk to stop it. She can jump in there, but she can't grab him by his junk, right? So, show no pity, it says. You should not keep two different weights in your bag, one heavy and the other light. Nor shall you keep two different ephahs in your house, one large, the other small. But use a full and just weight, a full and just ephah, so that you may have a long life on the land the Lord your God is giving you. For everyone who does these things, everyone who does what is dishonest, is an abomination to the Lord your God. Bear in mind what Amalek did to you on your journey after you left Egypt, how he surprised you along the way, weak and weary as you were, and struck down at the rear all those who lagged behind. He did not fear God. Therefore, when the Lord your God gives you the rest from all your enemies around about you in the land where the Lord your God is giving you to possess as a heritage, you shall blot out the memory of Amalek from under the heavens. Do not forget. I actually really like that part because I think it's funny. You don't think that's funny? Remember, Amalek bad, okay? You shall blot out the memory of Amalek from under the heavens. Do not forget. Blot out his memory. Don't forget. Y'all think that's funny? I think that's funny. Chapter 26. When you have come into the land which the Lord your God has given you to as a heritage, and have taken possession and settled in it, you shall take some first fruits of the various products of the soil, which, I'm sorry, I lost my place for a second. Y'all messed me all up. Take possession and settle it. Okay. You shall take some first fruits of the various products of the soil, which your harvest from the land your Lord your God is giving you. Put them in a basket and go to a place which the Lord your God will choose as a dwelling place for his name. There you shall go to the priest in office at that time and say to him, Today I acknowledge to the Lord my God that I have indeed come into the land which the Lord swore to our ancestors to give us. The priest shall then take the basket from your hands and set it in front of the altar of the Lord your God. Then you shall declare in the presence of the Lord your God, My father was a refugee out of Midian, who went down to Egypt with a small household and lived there as a red alien. But there he became a nation great, strong, and numerous. When the Egyptians maltreated and oppressed us, imposing harsh servitude upon us, we cried to the Lord, the God of our ancestors, and the Lord heard our cry and saw our affliction, our toil, and our oppression. Then the Lord brought us out of Egypt with a strong hand and an outstretched arm with terrifying power, with signs and wonders. and brought us to this place, and gave us this land, a land flowing with milk and honey. Now therefore I have brought the first fruits of the products of the soil which you, the Lord, have given me. You shall set them before the Lord your God, and you shall bow down to the Lord your God. Then you and your household, together with the Levite and the resident alien who lives among you, shall celebrate with all these good things which the Lord your God has given you. I mentioned, sorry. When you have finished setting aside all the tithes of your produce in the third year, the year of the tithes, and have given them to the Levite, the resident alien, and orphan, and the widow, that they may eat and be satisfied in your own communities, you shall declare before the Lord your God, I have purged my house of the sacred portion, and I have given it to the Levite, the resident alien, the orphan, and the widow, just as you have commanded me. I have not transgressed any of your commandments, nor forgotten any. I'm going to say it again. It's the third year for the tithe. Are they giving it to the church? Are they going to the place where the Levites do all the things and giving it to that building for those Levites to decide where it goes? No. No. If you give money to St. Jude, not the Catholic Church, that's still giving it to the church. St. Jude, the hospital in Memphis, that is giving back exactly what God said to. That is tithing the exact same way it's giving it to church. I'll die on this hill. What did you say? Should some go to the Levite? Yes. You gotta make sure you're feeding your priest, preacher, pastor, whatever. They call priests in here, I call them priests, okay? Don't get hung up on stupid things. You cannot separate whoever the leader is of the church, whatever you call that person. It is our job as the church to make sure they have food in their belly. People make fun of the South because when someone dies, everybody feeds them. They bring food to them. Not to the dead person, the person who lost somebody. And they make fun. They say, oh, what's that all about? Oh, somebody died. Let me feed you till you feel better. Yeah. And then there was, when I was growing up, still a lot of preachers around here, Southern preachers, had full-time jobs. They also preached every Sunday and a lot of them on Wednesday. They led the Bible studies and did all those things. But they had full-time jobs too. Or they had a little bit bigger church so they didn't have full-time jobs. But that church provided them a home to live in. Right? They didn't have to pay nothing for their house. That church provided them with food to eat. They never had to worry about what they're going to eat. Ever. We did what God had commanded us so long ago. Right? We took care of the person taking care of the flock. That's all this ever is. You take care of the person taking care of the flock. But what does he say? Give it to the orphan, the widow, the ones who don't have so that they may eat. Your church doesn't give to every single person. Go look around. If there's a charity or a thing you find, that touches you or something, give to that. That can be part of your tithe. It's right here. Sorry. If you think the Isaiah house is doing beautiful things, I do. If you think they're doing beautiful things, give money to the Isaiah house. Donate them clothes or toys or anything. Right? Do that. And know that you are tithe, that you are doing what God asks you to do. Don't let anybody talk you into thinking you're not. That's why we don't help each other like we're supposed to anymore. Because we've all convinced each other, if you're not giving it at church, then you're not giving it. Asinine is what that is. Asinine. If you don't know what that word means, just go look it up. If you are helping people in your community that need help, you are doing more what God has asked you to do than the person who tithes 10% every week at church. Because while they are giving to church, and that's good, they're dependent on the church to do what's right with it. You know how many logistical costs the church have? You know how many things they have to pay for before they can pay you after? If it means something to you, go donate to it. Help somebody. Pick a family in your town, and without them knowing it's you, help them out. I'm sorry. I get frustrated with this. I'm sorry. I think churches have beat it to death for a very clear reason. Gotta tithe the church. Do you? At church every time? Do you? Anyway. My point is, churches have gotten real big and they got a lot of money nowadays. Go look up what the Baptist convention, like the whole thing, is worth now. Go look up what the Mormon church is worth. Where all that gold was when they were selling. I'm sorry. Go look up what the Catholic church is worth. Right? Go look all this stuff up. Every bit of that came from tithing money that was supposed to go help poor and needy and orphans and widows. And it built a big church. Tithe how you feel is appropriate. Don't let nobody tell you how to do that. Sorry, I lost my place in case you can't tell. The orphan and the widow, that they may be satisfied. Here we go. You just shall declare before the Lord your God, I have purged my house of the sacred portion, and I have given it to the Levite, the resident alien, the orphan and the widow, just as you have commanded me. I have not transgressed any of your commandments, nor forgotten any. I have not eaten any of the tithe while in mourning. I have not brought any of it. I have not brought any of it while unclean. I have not offered any of it to the dead. I have thus obeyed the voice of the Lord my God, and done just as you have commanded me. Look down then from heaven, your holy abode, and bless your people Israel and the fields you have given us, as you promised an oath to our ancestors, a land flowing with milk and with honey. This day the Lord your God is commanding you to observe these statutes and ordinances. Be careful then to observe them with your whole heart and with your whole being. Today you have accepted the Lord's agreement. He will be your God, and you will walk in his ways, observe his statutes, commandments, and ordinances, and obey his voice. And today the Lord has accepted your agreement. You will be a people specially his own, as he promised you. You will keep his commandments, and he will set you high in praise and renown, and glory above all nations he has made. And you will be a people holy to the Lord your God, as he promised. Word of the Lord. Thanks be to God. We always talk about it, but don't forget to pray today, y'all. I'm going to throw one thing at you, and then y'all just do what you want to do, okay? With this, okay? But I want you to think about it, at least a little bit today. It is really easy now that we know who Jesus Christ was to look at the Pharisees, right, and the Sadducees, right? It wasn't just one group. It doesn't matter. I'm getting into semantics, it don't matter. Let's just call them all Pharisees for the simplicity of knowing who we're talking about. It is easy to look back at the Pharisees and judge them very harshly, knowing what we know, believing what we believe. Right? Now I want you to be really, really, really honest with yourself. Because this part's going to be hard. Especially if you're of a formed church that's been around a long time. Because there's stuff here that's going to be hard to swallow. Okay? How much is the head of your church? I ain't talking about your preacher exactly. I'm talking about, it doesn't matter which Christianity you're affiliated with. If you go look, they have a much bigger sect that like runs that faith. Right? Again, this is about something we don't teach here. Okay? But those big sects, right? How many of the ones that are in charge of those, right? Pick 15 or 20 of each big group. The ones that are in charge, the ones that run the show. Now be really honest with yourself. Man shows up tomorrow. He's from a nowhere piss poor town that means nothing to anybody. Okay? He goes around committing miracles, but only really around people that are poor and needy, and he commits miracles in front of these people. And then he starts saying things like, I am the Son of God. He doesn't say it that way, right? He uses the Bible. He says things like, I am. How many of our religious leaders right now would be any different than the Pharisees were then? How many of them would truly try to accept that maybe this is, could it be? Or would they all just say, nope, lies, false prophecy? What would they do? What would they do? Be honest. Here's the thing. I love my church, my faith. I mean that. I came to it as a grown man. I didn't grow up in it. I found it in my search for God. So I love my faith. But there's no question in my mind that my faith, because of its dedication to itself, right, to it being right, to the books that men have written about this book being just as good as this book, because of these things, I feel certain that my faith would, they wouldn't actually crucify him, right? Because we don't do that now, but they would crucify him. Because they're in power and they don't want to lose that power. Plain and simple, just like the Pharisees. Nobody wants to lose their seat at the table, do they? Shit. Nobody wants to be moved down to a lesser spot. Not only do they want their seat at the table, they want the most important seat. Right? It's called human nature. And human beings think in a way that is human. So don't kid yourself thinking your faith is somehow better than that. Your faith is something. Stop it. Stop it. Worrying about theology, start worrying about Christ. Worrying about religion, start worrying about what's right. I love you. If I didn't, I wouldn't get on there and do this, because I have people attack me over it. From my own faith a lot more than anywhere else. Anyway, Jesus Christ loves you exponentially more and would literally do anything to help you. Y'all have a beautiful and blessed day. I love you.